Kobe Bryant only missed 15% of his NBA career. The most recent generation NBA players are missing over 25 to 30% of their games they play now. In this video, I'm going to explain 4 reasons why Kobe Bryant never missed a lot of games and how to stay so resilient. Just looking at Kobe Bryant's basic mechanics, it's easy to see that he has very good hip internal and external rotation, so his knees never crack in when he jumps, and even when they do, it's not obsessive where he could accidentally tear his ACL. He also has very good dorsiflexion and just overall foot mechanics, so when he's running and jumping, his feet turn in, can pronate and supinate, and they can also dorsiflex and plantar flex correctly without any issues when it comes to like long-term just like mechanical breakdowns. So he did have like a couple injuries. Obviously he missed 254 games in total out of his 1600 games, but when it comes to his mechanics, he was able to maintain pretty good control. A lot of this comes from when he was playing basketball. He started playing from a very young age, but when you teach your body how to play basketball by only playing basketball, you get rid of all the possible compensations you can get from putting a 300-pound barbell on your back or just deadlifting and just using your back and not actually using your glutes and your hamstrings in the right type of firing pattern that you would use in a basketball game. So clearly he looks smooth and he looks fluid is because all he ever practiced as a kid all the way into the NBA was just playing basketball 90% of the time, really probably 95% of the time. You can see stuff like when he jumps, lands on 1 to 2 feet plants or just a simple 2-foot plant, he always lands toes to heel. He never lands on his heel first. Really good mechanics come from overloading the actual sport over time. So if you play the sport a lot with very good mechanics, you're going to improve your ability to maintain the mechanics when you're fatigued and when you're producing a lot of force on the court with a lot of adrenaline. So Kobe Bryant, as a young kid, did a lot of basketball. So they were saying that he does 4 hours of basketball, and some people are just like, how can you even do 4 hours of basketball? It doesn't even make sense. But if you actually progressive overload by even as little as 5 to 10 minutes every single week, you'll realize that your body and your tendons are actually going to get used to that load. So you'll be able to shoot a basketball thousands of times a day, but then if you do 1,000 and 100 times the next day, your body's gonna be like, you know what, I'm used to these 1,000 times, so now I can handle a little more load. What people do, and the reason why they can't do these Kobe Bryant type of workouts, these 4-hour crazy workouts, is because they go from sitting on the couch 0 hours a day and then they go into the 4 hours a day, and they do that for a whole week straight, and all of a sudden you got overuse injuries, you got knee pain, you got Achilles pain, you got calf cramps and all this crazy stuff because you didn't build it from a long-term foundation as a young kid. Kobe Bryant was working out and one of the best players in the world as a young kid. As a teenager, he was already one of the best players out there, and obviously that's why he was able to get drafted straight out of high school. Is because he's been playing basketball since a kid, and he got his body used to these crazy loads and ground forces and crazy, bumping and landing on 1 foot, all these crazy things that people are like, if I do that, I'm gonna break my knees. He got used to that as a kid. You have to expose the body to it. If you never expose the body to it at all, then you're just gonna get stuck and get broken down every time you randomly start playing a basketball game when you never prepared yourself to play basketball itself.
Our Christmas sale is live. All of the codes will either be right here or in the description or in the pinned comment. You can transform your sprint speed with the Speed Academy or just sprint body weight, your vertical jump with just jump, or reduce pain with just protect. Hop on the Christmas sale. It will end January 1st.
So going into playing basketball itself, really the biggest thing he did was giving exposure to the game. As a young kid, he played basketball almost every single day, and then he built his way up to 4 hours a day. So now if you look at his genetics, people are like, oh, he has the craziest genetics in the world. That's probably not even true. If someone has bad genetics, it can easily be combated by a good upbringing. So if you're training at a young age with a very good upbringing, you're training very consistently 5 days a week, 4 days a week, you're going to be exposed to the same type of forces throughout your entire lifespan. So when you grow up to an older age, you're gonna get injured way less, dominate, because you've practiced all these moves that most people start doing when they're 16 to 18, and you've been doing it since you were 12. If you made this far, hit the sub button and comment down below what is your favorite moment from Kobe Bryant's career. So instead of saying it's his genetics or luck for him never really getting injured too crazily, just think about his upbringing. Think about all the times he played basketball as a kid and how much you didn't play basketball as a kid, and maybe that might be what you need. You just simply need more more time playing basketball instead of like what is the perfect exercises or the perfect weight room thing to do. No matter what he did, he always played basketball even when he was injured. And this is the biggest point. His mentality towards basketball was to be the most dominant ever. When you're trying to be the best player in the world, and obviously we know Kobe Bryant was a spitting image of Michael Jordan, he was trying to surpass Michael Jordan. He do whatever it takes to actually be able to play basketball. A lot of people nowadays, they miss a lot of games, and it has a lot to do with the more spacing and a lot of faster athletes. Like, people are more athletic, so they're more susceptible to injury. That's really what the biggest thing is now. And obviously, the more space, people are shooting from farther, so they're hitting higher velocities because they're actually sprinting from farther out on the court. When you actually force yourself to push through the pain, although that's not ethical advice, it's still the reason why these people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant will play. Like, Kobe Bryant shot with his left foot when he broke his right hand or his right arm. He continued to play with his other hand even though he shouldn't even be on the court, because he just loved the game so much that he wasn't going to let anyone ever surpass him. He'd do whatever it takes to help his team. This is the biggest thing that people struggle with, is that nowadays everyone feels like things need to be given to them. You get injured just a little bit, you should be on the resting bed with thousands of people trying to take care of you. Really, you still need to get out there. You need to teach yourself how to be a little more grit and actually, push yourself to a farther limit so you can actually see better results, because sometimes the best results are going to come when you actually challenge yourself instead of just trying to, the second you get injured, just sit on the ground and cry about it and try to get the fastest surgery in the world. Sometimes you need to do some things that are kind of stupid, get on the court when you shouldn't, push through an injury when you shouldn't, help your team when they need it the most. And that's what builds the resilient person, is the resilient mindset. It's not really about what you're going to do to your tendons, because the tendons are the most important part. Exposing your body gradually without getting any crazy spikes in playing basketball workload is going to be the best thing for being resilient. But the mindset, actually believing that you're never going to get hurt and not even worrying about getting hurt, and even when you do get hurt, you act like it didn't even happen. You push through it mentally and you just do whatever it takes, and you focus on the goal, and the goal is always going to be winning or being the best out there. And that's what Kobe Bryant did the most. Kobe Bryant had one of the best mentalities when it came to being resilient, but someone who also had a very toxic mindset was Michael Jordan. Make sure you watch this video right here to understand why his toxic mindset was actually better than his genetics.